Hello everyone. Good evening, guys. I hope you guys all are doing great. At Hello everyone. Good evening. This is Vijay Santosh Kumar Chaganti, your Interaction Design Foundation Hyderabad chapters community leader. Yes. So it's a warm welcome to you all for being here and enjoying the show. So the topic is about interaction design in healthcare and pharma industry. So you guys might have seen this pandemic and everything from last 2 years. That's how we are being and surviving. So here there are so much of contribution should be there from as a designers and healthcare and some other industries also been there. So here the topic is all about only the interaction design in healthcare and pharma. So there we have a wonderful panelist here to explain and to discuss about the key concepts and points of all particular topic. So here we are going to have Dr. Senthil, ophthalmologist, is a founder and CEO of Welcare Health Systems Private Limited too. So, and a quick short description about the Senthil can be like he's an ophthalmologist and he understands the importance of staying in touch with the ophthalmic community so that he can build a network and develop the ophthalmic enterprises together in a better way. So this is all about Dr. Senthil, and we are Sourabh too. Sourabh is a senior vice president at Lupin Limited, and he's very passionate leader in healthcare and pharmaceutical industries and with a diverse exposure and handling the business operations, strategies, sales, marketing, branding, and many more, and etc. It's all about the Saurabh. And we have Ram here. Ram is a experienced design practice lead at Accolite Digital, and he's a versatile human with into the several key roles like product design, and perform people performance with over 2 decades of practical expertise and under all the facts of software, information technology industry, and many more. So it's all about Ram, and now we are going to announce about our Pranav. He's who is the been with me from long time, and he wanted to moderate the show, and he met me with some idea, and that's how the event was happened. So Pranav is chief experience designer at Praakamya, and he's having almost 27 years of varied experience in marketing strategy, customer experience, and mass communication, and so many professional education sales. Right? Yeah, he's been into creativity, innovation, and startups, and many more. And he is the keynote speaker and work facilitator too in the industry, and he's doing his best. So with all these beautiful panelists, we are going to have a session in a wonderful way. I hope. I think. Yeah. So let's move it to the session in a best way. I'm hand overing to the Pranav for this session. Pranav, hand over to you.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you very much. And thanks to all the panelists, Dr. Senthil, Saurabh, and Ram. Thank you for agreeing to join to this challenging task. Talking to the varied professionals, people joining to us today is from the medical services, healthcare professionals, we have pharmaceutical professionals, and of course, we do have a good bunch of designers joining together. As you see, we are from totally diverse background, diverse kind of specialties. So I thought to bring to a common kind of language, common grammar to a start before starting the panel discussion. So I made a few slides. I wanted to show you just to be sure that all are converging into the one direction, not going to the different direction to cohesively bind this discussion. So allow me to share these slides once again. Okay. I believe you are able to see the slides now. Perfect. I think good. Uh, so when we started talking about interaction design in healthcare and pharma, there's so much of thought came. Some of the panelists we also discussed in advance, the first week of January, I think, when people said that this is a so diverse field. What we are going to talk in 1 hour time. So then Vijay, thankful to Vijay, he sent a Google form asking comments and questions from the participants, and good bunch of people has responded that, and that forms my first slide. So what comes to your top of the mind when you thinks interaction design in healthcare and pharma? Feel free to put your comments here, and your comments will be seen here. As you see right now, we have an international participants, and there are so many international participants joining this here in this discussion. I can see it from my end here. I think all will be able to see when they comment, they make their questions or the mark. So diverse background but missing 50% of population women. So, madam, thank you very much pointing to that. Uh, and I'm actually missing really. I wanted to two of my friend woman designer to include that. Somehow they were busy. Uh, that's why they could not make it today. Maybe next time I make it try definitely to make it 100%. I mean 50% at least to women in panel. Thanks for putting this question in the beginning. Now going forward to what comes in mind and what the people has responded, these are the thing came up. Mobile app, because post COVID-19, the development of mobile app for prescription tracking or adherence apps mushroom like anything. That's good. Many people trying to solve the patient's problem. Website, how to be design website keeping the UX in mind. Buttons, very so minute but very important thing. Buttons, wireframing, mockups, data security, patient privacy, HIPAA, WCAG, career in pharma, healthcare, blah blah blah. So much things, so many things came from the Google form response, and I believe that that is the top of the mind thing when it comes to varied kind of people's mind when you talk about interaction design in healthcare and pharma. Now, I would like to remind you some of the incidences which becomes a trigger point for designers to think deeper, rather reconsider what they have been doing. This Chernobyl disaster, is a human error. Designers felt that can't we solve this? Same way in medical field, we often say that, or jokingly say that, operation successful, patient died. In other words, this cartoon says the operation was successful, but too sad that the patient will never know about it. This is all about human error happening in medical practice, and I'm not saying without the data. This Harvard study says that 5.2 million medical errors occurs in India every year. And as I worked with the healthcare professional very closely, designing and executing healthcare professional education program, I know that the actual number is much more than, and I'm trying to address that problem. What the John Hopkins study says, more than 250,000 people die in the US every year from medical errors. It is the third largest cause of death after heart disease and cancer. So it is not India. In the most advanced developed countries also, this is happening. Sometimes many of my physician friends or even my pharmaceutical professionals say that the patient was taking all medicine as was prescribed, still got massive heart attack, and the first MI was the last one. Patient either survived with so much bad condition, so much of morbidity, or couldn't. So for this session, what are the key area we should discuss? I just pointed three major point here. For the healthcare professional, can design be an aided scalpel? It is like you are getting an additional instrument to operate on a very complicated surgery. Can design really help? For the pharmaceutical company, can it give a avenue, untraveled, unbeaten avenues for customer engagement and creating and delivering greater prescriber value? And of course, ultimately to the patient value. For the friends who are from the design background, can this session give exposure to some of the challenge which are not just a puzzle, which are a real problem, and which are wicked problem. Puzzle is has only one solution, and answer is also there in the textbook. You can find out. You can just join different angle and solve the puzzle. Problem has many solutions, and wicked problem actually is a very difficult kind of thing where the problem is itself is not really defined. One of my LinkedIn connection, Christian Sarkar, has been working along with Philip Kotler on this wicked problem for last couple of months, and actually he got adjudged as one of the top 50 management thinkers in the world last December on working wicked problem, how design can solve the wicked problem. So these are the area. We are not going to teach you anything. We just trying to inspire the one discipline with the other discipline, maybe converse that to help you to kickstart the thinking process to solve human problem. I'm going to move further. Uh, while I see comments from one of the management consultant, I worked with him, Milind Hardas, and he talks about the execution. And execution is one of the problem which pharmaceutical, not only pharmaceuticals, even the healthcare professional are facing these days, where the attention span is very narrow. How can design solve that problem? If you can think on that. Moving forward, now actually I have only one slide, but for the better understanding, I divided into multiple. So I wanted to bring multiple stakeholder in one canvas, one page, and all of you know that one is healthcare professional, other is pharmaceutical professional, third is the patient and their attendant, their family, and all are connected with the drug, the physical drug, what you call medicine. And there are some touch points, grossly I'm talking about, value offering through which they are interconnected. Like pharma connects with healthcare professional through different medical services, Healthcare professionals offers patient care and treatment to the patient. Patient uses drug, and many times pharmaceutical company engage with the patient with patient support program. Why I have put this point? Because these are the area of broader interaction in healthcare and pharmaceutical industry. All ecosystem want to deliver human-centered healthcare system. We wanted to give them the best class of the patient experience. That's the ultimate goal of all the stakeholder we have here. Many times people ask me, what do you mean by human-centered design or human-centered marketing? S2H marketing. You know that last year when Philip Kotler and his co-authors started this concept S2H marketing, this become like a wildfire. Everybody is trying to understand what exactly human-centeredness there and incorporate in their plan, their marketing and value proposition. I have taken this four principle here to incorporate in this canvas itself. It says that in human-centered design, the focus is on the people, real people. Second, it try to solve the real human problem. Third, it is all about system. It means if you change one, all other thing will also change. And the last is that you will never get right very first time. You have to iterate again and again to really find out the real problem or the substantial solution to serve your customer. If you bring all these things together, what is experience here we wanted to provide is the first angle of the triangle is that patient or the doctor or your customer must get a functional value, a functional benefit of whatever you are offering. But it is not enough. They should also feel emotionally good, appreciated, acknowledged, happy, wow, once they consume the and after. And the whole process of it should be very smooth, frictionless, enjoyable. That's the combining the whole part of this. And if you carefully see this canvas, the bottom part we are talking about a specific touch point or the products or the interaction, while at the upper part we are talking about the entire journey. That's why here the UX, user experience design, as well as CX, customer experience design, both are intermingled across the square. This is a brief I wanted to give you. Before I invite now to my panelists, I wanted to ensure you that based on this canvas, we have four people to help you to understand or to inspire you at least to know more in this topic. We have Dr. Senthil, who is not only an ophthalmologist, but he himself lead a movement among the ophthalmologists in India by helping them to build how to improve the patient experience, how to improve the ophthalmic practice, medical practice. I have been in his forum in 2019. He had done 2 days big conference, and he had invited me as a speaker in as a patient experience. So he is a leader himself, more than a doctor. He is a leader himself who understand the needs of the patient as well as the need of the healthcare professionals. From the pharmaceutical industry, we have a very senior leader, senior vice president of Lupin, Sourabh, as explained already by my friend Vijaya about his profile. I'm not going to repeat it again, but I know him personally, the kind of futuristic outcome he keeps. I think he will be able to help us to understand this mystery much more in next few minutes. And we have Ram G, we call it Ram, who has a varied experience, which brings from user experience and interaction experience design to the table. And of course, I have been helping you to understand the mystery of customer experience. Now I'm going to ask questions to my panelists, but I want you to consider this, that the patient is not just a body which is non-functional or badly functional, not operating different part of the body the way it should operate, but also has emotion, distress, withdrawal. Many times they don't go or delay the going to the physician, a lot of anxiety, they are vulnerable, and a fear. In this whole context, how design is going to help, this is what we are going to solve now in this discussion, at least trying to understand the very top level of that things. With this, now let us move to our panelists, and I'm going to start with Dr. Senthil. I have talked about Dr. Senthil. So Dr. Senthil, do you have any opening comments to start with?
Yeah, thank you, Pranav, for inviting me to this session. So we started with the context of a patient. So the patient of today no more wants to be called as a patient. So patient is more of a healthcare consumer, and hospitals are more people don't want to have this hospital feeling when they go to a hospital. So they are more of a healthcare organizations. So there and particularly in India, I think there is a lot of lacunae in the offering to the patient, basically in terms of the customer satisfaction. And I think there is a lot of opportunities to improve those interactions within the patient and the doctor and the patient and the staff, or staff, because I'm sure all of us have been visiting hospitals, and definitely still think that okay, because from the viewpoint of a doctor, quality is always that when the doctor delivers a good care, or when the doctor delivers a good treatment, so he is happy that he has delivered a good service to the patient. But on the other hand, from the patient's viewpoint, patient has a lot more things for him, whether the staff answer the telephone on the reception properly, or whether the website of the hospital is interactive, so whether the bathrooms in the hospital are clean. So I think this concept of interactive design, where you try to solve the problem along with the customer or the patient, I think there is a large scope for that, and particularly in the healthcare industry. So I feel there are two. One is the interaction of the patient with the doctor and the staff, and then maybe interaction of the doctor with the other healthcare providers, like a pharmaceutical representative or a medical. So we can see the doctor as a provider and a doctor also as a consumer. So both area there is a lot of scope for interactive design. So I think over the next 20-30 minutes
Thank
we
you.
should arrive at some
Yeah,
conclusion.
thanks, Dr. Senthil. I'll come back to you. Before that, let's move to Sourabh. And Sourabh, would love to get your opening comments on this topic itself.
Yeah, thank you, Pranav, for having all of us here. Really pleasure to talk to a varied audience, right from healthcare provider and consumer, other healthcare professionals, and even the group of designers who are working on UX. So, as Dr. Senthil said, I think the whole outlook currently what we have about patient being a sufferer and doctor being a provider only for health, I think the expectation has moved very differently now. So definitely, if the term what Dr. Senthil said, if we start treating patient like a consumer and hospitals like a healthcare organization or a setup, then the whole ecosystem will be much more concerned about the experiences that we are delivering. Similarly, if I look at pharmaceutical industry and healthcare industry, I think we have also been classically not too much focused on experience as a way of managing. We were over indexing relationship. So a whole 3 to 5 decades of industry, people have been talking of how do I manage customer relationship. I mean that has been so true, not just pharma but almost all industries. Pharma being little more, I would say B2B kind of marketing and selling, has been heavily focused on relationship management. But over time, as we see that the same healthcare provider or a doctor or a hospital or a clinic or a pharmacist, he is also a consumer in some way, and his experience is being challenged by a lot of other ecosystem which he is getting influenced to. He has a facility to be on Zomato. He has a Swiggy available, which is on click of button. If he needs anything, he can order on Amazon like anything. So his other experiences are forcing industry to think aloud and say that why he or she will not have similar experience from say pharmaceutical or healthcare companies, because finally if he is a consumer and he is expecting certain level of services, certain level of experiences, only relationship will not survive. Relationship may be a bedrock, which is true for not just now but maybe for eternity, but every experience does create something which is valuable, and therefore the whole outlook has to shift, not just mere to customer relationship management, but to go to customer experience management, and the new age designing tools which are there. I think in tech and digital, or I would say in IT, it has been happening for maybe more than 2 decades or so. But in pharmaceutical industry or so, in last 4 to 5 years, I think there is little more awareness. I would not say the implementation as yet or execution as yet, but there is a awareness for sure. When people have started thinking about, can I do entire customer journey mapping? Can I do a user experience which is much better? The more we do, we will be able to create better value for all the stakeholders for sure. And end of it, of course, is a better experience for doctors or healthcare providers, better experience for patients, better experience for other stakeholders like pharmacists and stockists, which we also deal with, and even people. We have a whole people dependent industry. So at times I also feel that as a pharmaceutical industry we must treat our mm, teams which are handling customers, what kind of experience we offer to them as well. I mean, that's also an area which HR professionals and all of us can work. So experience is for everyone. How do
Right.
you design it, how do you shape it? Every interaction is an experience. I'm sure even connecting in this platform, and some of you are listening to us, and some will go to Zoom, another will go to WebEx, and some will go to some other platform, Teams, etc. Each one of the platform offers different experience, and your liking, disliking has a meaning, because it decides your future, actions. It decides the success or failure of what we are delivering, etc. So, uh, I mean, it will play a phenomenal role. And I think you rightly picked up. Maybe for pharma and health, it's a little nascent right now, but we have experienced designers here, Ram around here, and healthcare provider
Right.
Dr. Senthil here.
Yeah.
Pranav himself being a customer experience expert, I would say. Now, it should be very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to learn from all of you, share what we are doing in pharma or healthcare right now, and look forward for interaction. Thank you, Pranav. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Saurabh. Ramji, you must have been bubbling with ideas and thoughts to share. I know that because uh, designers always see something which the normally is not seen. So, what's your opening view on this topic itself?
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to be in this session. Have been enjoying the complete conversation, and couple of comments coming in, and there gives me a couple of thoughts. And it's a very right point what Dr. Sendil and Saurabh said, and also you brought it that these days healthcare is an organization, hospitality is an a health caring organization, and patient is no more a patient. I personally witnessed, say, if I look back 3 decades back, we used to go and search in a doctor who will take care of me. But these days, you see a totally shift. The moment you get into the hospital, there will be a some person who is first interaction happens that what is that you have in preliminary in detail, and they will guide you from there. A the person who goes there less of patient, more of a consumer, more of treated well, and with that satisfaction, the doctor's medicine talk itself, the treatment in the hospital itself, 50% of the patients get cured psychologically, and that treatment makes or experience that multiple interactions makes the people to cure themselves. That's what the people usually say, placebo effect, that plays an important role. And that shift have already seen in the industry, and there is much more to happen. If you take about the care of even a smallest clinic, a polyclinic, a smallest clinic, the moment you get and step into that, maybe the lady who is standing at the entrance or a receptionist, they will take care of a minimal information and talk to you so politely and so caringly, and that caring itself gives you a feel that satisfaction that I am in a better hands. And any person who goes to either a hospital or a clinic or any pharmacy, if they give an assurance that in a safe hands, and that interaction touch points, taking care of it really keeps the person in a comfort place. And especially these days, being in a digital era, every move, every interaction is measured. The moment you step out of Apollo Pharmacy or Yeshoda Hospital or a Fortis or any hospital, you will be given a feedback form to measure your experience, and that measure becomes a growth of the organization of any offerings and service, and doctors or any offerings are being measured by the ratings, 5-star rating, 3-star rating, so on. So I'm very happy to initiate this discussion with this nice interaction point, Mr. Pranav. Thank you very much. I'm happy to hear more, learn more, explore more, and get inspired more from the lot of people's words. Thank you.
Thanks, Ram. As you rightly said, the experience becoming important nowadays, and even the healthcare and pharmaceutical industry has understood that. Let me put my questions extending this to Saurabh. In this last pandemic, a lot of things happen. My question to Saurabh, then I'll come back to Senthil. My question to Saurabh is that the pandemic had put pharma marketers in an unforeseen situation. Companies swiftly shifted, at least partly, to non-traditional digital media to interact with the customer. Was it engaging enough, smooth and welcome? Was there any course correction after getting the voice of customer done anyhow in pharmaceutical company? This is what I wanted to understand first from Saurabh, and then I will, in the same topic, I will take a quick response from the experience as a customer from Dr. Senthil, because he's the other side of the table when it comes to customer. Saurabh, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Pranav. I think relevant question, and you're right that last year when we got the first wave, when we saw unprecedented time of lockdown, nobody imagined that we had to reinvent the whole, the customer journey rather. I mean, the whole way to connect with doctors. As a pharmaceutical company, doctors are the primary contact for us. So our patient care is provided through doctors. So everyone quickly jumped the bandwagon, and the whole lot of efforts on the connect. How do we connect with doctors? So of course phone has been the traditional way, so mobile phone calls etc became one. Second has been good usage of video calling facility, whether it is with FaceTime or with WhatsApp or any other applications which are available, so that happened. Third was also remote applications through which people are connected. There were digital, I would say, infographics which were pushed to doctors through various media. So I would say multi-channel marketing was used in a big way in that case. Then a whole bunch of educational activities with webinars, seminars, symposiums, and so on and so forth. So initially, right, like you rightly said, it just happened like as much was a pandemic with COVID virus, so much viral was the webinars and e-activities which was done by industry. Everyone did it and done with a whole lot of push, and thousands would have happened. And initially people were interested. Everyone thought, "Chalo, something is happening. Let me experience." The people went, and doctors, I'm sure, would have attended multiple such programs because everyone was practically sitting back home. The speakers were excited. Everyone got an opportunity to speak and talk about their opinions. So various formats were tried, this, that, etc. Maybe in a month's time, a huge amount of fatigue because everyone overdid and nobody knew what worked. What Nobody even asked what is that the customer needs. Everyone only did and just provided. This is what I can do. I'll do it. I'll keep pushing, pushing, pushing. The customer was, though offering was for customer, but I don't think anybody accounted for customer at all. Sorry, Dr. Senthil, but I think we as an industry did felt that we did the whole thing, and there was absolutely no concern about what is happening at the end of the receiver. One single doctor, I am sure, in a day must be receiving 20 WhatsApp messages, 30 SMS, so many webinar calls, sometimes as a speaker, sometimes as attendees, this activity, that activity, and you're overwhelming somebody and he don't even know what is it all for. What is the end delivery? What are you looking forward for?
Mm.
Does it solve education? Does it solve interaction? Does it solve something for patient? And at many occasions, people even forgot that you're in midst of a huge pandemic. There is something back home must be happening. Doctors are otherwise also overwhelmed with huge medical emergencies and all of that. And I mean, everybody only cared what they can do or what you can provide for. And there was a huge course correction, I can tell you, at least for us as an organization at Lupin, and I'm sure in maybe other progressive healthcare companies as well. We had to do a course correction. We could not just continue to bombard the way it happened for the first 2 months. Though numbers were there, but then we absolutely took feedback from
Yeah.
customers. We took feedback from our team members who are executing. What are people doing? What they want? Exactly what is happening? And then we came out with formats, experience which are as per the need of customers. Uh, so one thing clearly came: long, big lectures of 2 hours, 1 hour, 3 hour doesn't work. Nobody has a span of attention in a small screen to listen to somebody for 1 hour. Even in face-to-face meeting, we realize 30, 40 minutes is too much.
Mm.
Uh, and you're talking, one educated guy is talking to the other educated guy. It's not a layman education. You're talking to HCP to HCP education largely in pharma.
Right.
That everyone is a regional. So content got slightly curated, approach got curated. We were non-invasive. Earlier it was very invasive in privacy and all. We were just pushing it. Pushing was the right word. Then we thought, no, it has to be a choice. If you want, you can get more, but if you decide not to be obstructed, one should be given option. So a lot of actionable were done. Third was, let's say somebody showed interest, then how do you map the journey?
Mm.
Is it only one point interaction that somebody attends a seminar or you give an infographic and the period experience ends there? No, you'll have to create a journey out of it. So we from there, can you land a customer to somewhere else where more meaningful information is available? Can the engagement be much more deeper? Can there be action out of the whole events that you're doing, or those are isolated one piece events? So those happen. And at
Mm.
the back end, for organizations like ours, there was an investment happening on the tools and things which we never did. So never in our company we would have UI UX designers, what we now have. The reason is same, because we realize we are not expert in it. There are a lot of guys who are good in commercials and medical. They're not good in designing this. They're good in executing, doing sales, doing business, science, etc. We had that. Then we had to really map those. We have to do those investments. Then there is investment on tools and platforms. There are a lot more efficient tools and platforms which give analytics, what's working, what's not working, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. So whether a 30-second clip is better or a 90-second is good,
Mm.
there are data to show now. So we
Yes.
invested in technology big time. Third or fourth has been educating and investing on the field force. They were not used to handle such technology. They were all used to face in-person interaction. They're very good at it. Fantastic.
Mm.
They do a good job. They engage with customer very well. But now that you're not meeting face to face, how do you engage? Can you open the phone and start talking the same way the way you do in clinic visit? The answer is no. uh, the way, means, etiquettes, everything has to change. So they were trained big time. First to educate on technology and various media channels and what we can do, and second is then to train them for appropriate ways and means of how to handle multi-channel marketing, how to handle these tools which are available handy. So these were iterations done, and I would say we have still not reached the sweet spot. We are still learning because when the pandemic say was once first wave receded and people started practicing back in September October period last year, the pattern suddenly shifted. All these things evaporated. But then we saw that if there are a lot of people who withdrew, we said no more, multi-channel, no more digital, no more webinars. So there was like 100% shift, 180-degree shift. You're
Right.
almost completely digital, and then you suddenly switched off. Now the world has shifted in behavior significantly, and I'm sure Dr. Senthil would say about it. Patients' expectation has changed. They are ready to consult online. They are ready to order medicines through e-commerce platforms. A lot of things has happened. So how can we completely switch back to the original way, or the not the original? I would say the traditional way. So there has to be a mix, and what is that healthy mix? So I think what is the healthy mix?
Hmm.
Which channel is more effective? We are still learning. We are, and this is very very iterative process. And
Okay.
now that I am also in touch with a couple of UX designers, I am picking up this language that design is never final. It's always iterative. The more data, insights, experiences you build in, and the eye for detail you have, you can create fantastic experiences. And the
That's
moment
right.
you do it, the response is phenomenal. Even a 30-second can deliver far more than what a 3 hour cannot deliver. So we believe we are still learning. We are better than what we were 1.5 year back, but we haven't yet reached the sweet spot. I mean, the way today a lot of other applications and platform can engage with consumer, health and pharma is yet to reach there. Today also, if you pick up your phone and if you're hooked to WhatsApp or you're hooked to um, Insta or Twitter, you will easily spend 5, 7, 8, 10, 15 minutes without realizing what have you done for 15 minutes. So you are becoming a product there. But
Right.
in health, it is not yet happening. It's a very, I would say, the experience you have to shape up well. There is a
Hmm.
scope, significant scope to improvise, significant.
Yes, yes, yes. So, thanks, Saurabh. As you rightly said, actually, I'm very happy to see that pharmaceutical company are now willing to fail and fail fast. Otherwise, pharmaceutical company was so much regulated, not just from the governments, but from the internal heart itself, that they don't want to take risk. They don't want to take any trial and error thing. And in design, iteration is very, very important. One of the principle of human-centered design. So I am going to Dr. Senthil now. So Dr. Senthil, quickly you also tell us that how was your experience during pandemic from the pharmaceutical company, very quickly, and then the experience from the point of the patient, how this changed, like how much importance and attention healthcare professionals, medical doctors, hospitals give to people interaction, as well as people to product, the different kind of instrument, the medical devices, even the glasses ophthalmologists give, those interaction, how much importance you guys give to that, and do you believe that these must be thoughtfully designed?
Yeah. So, thank you, Pranav. And I agree with Saurav because basically, when the pandemic started initially, as doctors, we were bombarded with too many webinars. Like every day, there used to be like four, five, and hundreds of webinars used to happen. So we thought, is this going to be the norm? And but what happened was slowly, initially, everybody was very excited about it, and then started participating in that, and then after say even after 3 months, what happened was 3 or 6 months we had a kind of an aversion towards these webinars. So whenever webinars happened, we thought, let me not attend anything, even if it's going to be very interesting. We didn't want to attend. And on the patient side also, initially when the hospitals are not open, there are lots of patients who were willing to consult online, and they were coming online, and every day we used to do say 20, 30 online consultations. Lot of hospitals started offering teleconsultations. Their websites started having this teleconsultation buttons and then all those things. But slowly when things became normal, everybody started going back to the original way. So but what created, there was a disruption created by this pandemic, where everybody started moving towards that digitization. So let's say 80-20. So 80% or 90% still the traditional way happens, but still there are 10% of the people who want to consult online or So now the webinars, say even regular conferences happen, but we started going into the hybrid mode. So there was a online physical meet which was also combined with the online meeting. So there was a disruption caused definitely by the onset of the pandemic. And going back to, so because I think what we didn't understand what was the requirement of the customer, either the doctor or the patient. In terms of a pharmaceutical company didn't understand what the doctor requires, or as doctors we didn't understand what the patient requires. So that is when I think this concept of design thinking itself comes, because what is the basic crux of design thinking or interactive design is never start with the idea. Oh,
Right.
I'm not able to meet a doctor, so I have this idea. Can I send WhatsApp messages? Or, oh, because that company is doing, can I also do Instagram or WhatsApp? So you start with the problem. I think when you start with the problem and then create those solutions, I think that is when you will end up with a really interesting solution. So identifying that problem which the customer has, either a doctor or a patient, and then creating those solutions. And then you then I think ideas don't have everybody has lots of ideas. I think if you I used to joke with my friend, like, if you give me 3 hours time, I can come out with 500 different ideas. So once you identify the right problem, I think the ideas are going to be easy. And then you create those prototypes and then implement it into the market. So that is I think in that is a basic concept of design thinking. I think in interactive designing, you also interact with the customer and iterate and create those different models which you want to create. So the digital thing has changed a lot of things, but I think a traditional way is not going to go. Maybe 90-10 is what I understand happens in terms of doctors consultation with patients. And then, because we still like to meet the pharma representatives, because many of the representatives we have a physical we know them, we most of them are friends, they have been meeting us for 5-10 years, so we don't want to meet them online. We still want to meet them in person. So you cannot replace it. But I think if you start with that identifying the problems and then creating those solutions, I think that is where the whole thing will change.
That's right. So, Ram, this is I think, good platform to put now. You have heard healthcare professional, you have heard a pharmaceutical leader, and you also got some feedback from the participants that what was bombarded during the COVID from pharma to healthcare professional doctors was really too much and giving bad experience, not a good experience. So, what is your observation of the industry? And rather, I would ask you to club some more thought of yours, which you believe can be useful as a user experience design lead. You have worked variety of the companies, so bringing those together, because we just wanted to inspire the people. In nutshell, whatever you think is your prescription for healthcare professional or for the pharmaceutical professional. Your audio is not there.
Apologies. I'm
Yeah.
audible now. Right. I
Yes.
carefully heard Dr. Senthil and also the Sourabh's concerns and other messages also. I'm not surprised. This is something I have been going through a couple of years. I have my own friends, close friends, childhood friends who have been into the doctor's profession and the pharma profession. And before the media tells me, friends will tell you much faster than that. So they also comes and gives me that this is the digital we are affected or technically unsavviness. We are why we have to do all these things. I say one thing is very clear, sir. Digitalization, it's not that we is replaceable. It's only to some extent it will help you. Human connect, human interaction will never replaced, and the impact of human intelligence and human touch will never be replaced by any technology, whatever may come in the world, as long as I'm alive. Okay. So here the point, as I said, there are certain constraints, as the Sourabh is saying, that Dr. Senthil is saying, certain information without getting into the technology part or a technology part, how we can make the people to understand. There is a very big role in any design thinking, that is called empathize. So the people whoever go and give advice or take the problem statement from the people or the ideas from the people, first thing we have to do as a designers, first stand in the person's shoes. Until unless we don't experience their challenges, we'll never in a position to give the solution. There is an old saying, stand in my shoes, right? So after during the empathize phase, it's not just what you can say, because you have understood the person you can give the solution. You have to have a length and breadth of this ecosystem. Until unless you understand the ecosystem, because every ecosystem plays with certain constraints, monitored by certain governances, certain compliances. It's not that every solution will fit, but in nutshell I can say design thinking is the best approach to solve these type of problems and prioritize the challenges which require the digital touch. Only try to digitalize, don't overkill the in the name of technology or in a digital transformation. Everything, nothing can be revamped, as certain information as bombarded with a lot of information. The groups whoever post the information, don't forcefully dump into the people. Understand that what is there required. There are some various parameters we can take, make the professional based or a interest based filters can be applied, so that necessary content will be published to that certain concern or certain the concerned person. So as 100% in agreement that both the industries, design industry and the pharma industry, healthcare industry, operates on lot of principles, lot of practices, and especially in pharma and healthcare industries, lot of governance bodies which are dynamic in nature. Situationally they change. We as a designers, we should be adaptive to it and be accommodative to the people whoever we are giving the offerings. That's from my side.
That's very good, Ram. And actually, you rightly said. And some people actually understand that high tech require high touch. Touch actually meaning empathy. If you not adding high touch in high tech, you are bound to fail. Now, we have a couple of more minutes, so maybe one quick round from all the panelists, one by one. Very quickly, I request Dr. Senthil, as you yourself as an entrepreneur, a leader and clinical doctor, if any clinical leader, any clinical doctor want to get leverage of interaction design or design principle, what kind of attitude and behavior should he be adopting?
I think you mentioned that word. I'm very happy that you mentioned this word, empathy. So, whenever you are designing a solution, like a doctor who wants to design a solution for his patient to improve the customer experience, I think you should not have the sympathy and you should create those solutions with empathy. So, what is the difference between sympathy and empathy? So, let's say we are seeing a beggar on a street, or when you see somebody who's blind, what you have towards them is sympathy. But empathy is something where you solve the problem for the customer along with the customer. So you empathize with them. You empathize. So if you are a patient, so how do you feel you will create that solution? Let me give you a small example. So this company called Tata, they created two products. So one was the Tata Ace, which is a vehicle to carry those small loads, because the same engineering team created those two products. One was Tata Ace, the other one was Tata Nano. So Tata Ace was created out of empathy, because the engineers really empathize with these people who were driving those tricycles with those heavy loads, and then they created that product called Tata Ace, which came out of empathy. But Ratan Tata, when he was traveling on the road and he saw this family of four people going on a motorcycle on the rain, he thought, oh, why not I give them a car so that they can also own a car. So, so this came out of sympathy. But what Tata didn't understand was whether this person had this money to put the petrol, whether though you can give the car for 1 lakh rupees, but does he have a parking space? So most of these people live in small rented houses, they may not have a parking space. So design solutions which are created out of sympathy might not work. So when you have this mindset change from sympathy to empathy, I think that is when the solutions are going to work. So whenever say a Sourabh, when he's designing his solutions for doctors, or when we as doctors design the solutions for patients, or think of how do we actually create those good customer experience, we should actually empathize with them. So one point which I wanted to drive is always understand. So never start with the problem, never start with the idea, start with the problems, and always create those solutions with empathy. Then I think a lot of things will be solved. Thank
Right,
you, sir.
right. So what you said, Dr. Senthil, is actually a example of a leadership. Ratan Tata saw that, he got inspired, and he's driven his resources, people, and there is all non-human resources to make it happen that Nano is delivered within 1 lakh. Now let's move to Saurabh. Saurabh, uh, continuing from where Dr. Senthil has left, because this require a leadership. It is not about the what are the need to be done, resources and money, but the vision of a leadership. So my questions to you is that what does it takes to do? What kind of leadership approach and behavior should be developed and promoted within the organization to meet these emerging challenges and to win these frontiers?
Uh, I think very important point is actually a change management exercise. So it's not about whether you're talking of tech or experience, etc. It's more about change in the outlook. So change management need to be driven. That means everybody has to be really put on board in terms of what is the end game looking like. When you do it, how does it solve anything that we are currently facing? Right? So if you don't keep the end game, don't keep people on board, every such effort is likely to be less responsive to you. Right? So at a leadership level, very important is how do you drive the entire change management, and it cannot be thrust or pushed upon. You cannot say that it has to happen. Everything is not about just saying that you would just deliver it. It doesn't work that way, because it's a behavior shift. It's not about tech or digital. It's a way you look at things. So when you're talking about design thinking, it's a behavior shift. It's not about IQ. It's about how do you manage the whole person and the way he operates. So whenever there is a behavior shift, absolutely relevant to take people on board, show them the end game. How does the whole thing will look like, and what is in for them. So if I am able to relate to the outcome personally at individual level, that if I am a doctor, what does it deliver to a doctor? What is in for me? If I am a patient, what is delivered to patient? If I am a medical rep, what it delivers to a medical rep? If I am a marketer, what is it delivered to marketer? So if you make the story compelling and define the end game for everyone, or the what does good look like, that's the job of leader, and then sufficiently invest for making this change happen, because this is time intensive, and also there is a resource that you need to deploy for it, and have patience.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I losing the voice?
No, you are very much audible, Pranav.
Okay. Uh, Fine. So now coming to Ram, you saw that the as Saurabh said, there is a companies are opening up the time to imbibe the design principle. At the same time, we have good trained designers, right?
Yep.
There is a gap. There is a gap that both the discipline, whether healthcare or pharmaceutical and design, is operating in a different world, and we have a good bunch of new designer who are getting attracted with the promise of design and building the career. So what is your advice to young designers who want to work in mostly closed, highly regulated, humanly sensitive healthcare and pharmaceutical industry? This is what the industry is: highly
Yeah.
regulated, very sensitive, at the same time uh, closed, very closed. Don't open up for everybody. But good, Saurabh said that they are open to actually work with designers. Ramu, please.
Yeah. Again, I say anybody who has to be in the design or any industry, first remember these days it has to become a mantra that experience is everything and experience matters, and everything is derived and driven through experiences. So when you're in a process of creating experiences or designing experiences, again I say the same word called empathy. First try to understand the any domains industry ecosystem, try to stand with them in that ecosystem, not try to teach the design system or design thinking to them. First you try to learn from them, then gradually you show the value in their system, getting become a person among them. Then they start, you can start showing the things, the value over there. And once you show the value, people start automatically start accepting you. And also don't ask the questions, because this is the common trend the design schools has taught, the user interviews user. But I believe and say, stop asking the question, start observing the people. Because there is an old saying that if you want to know the person, if you want to understand the person, know the person, hear to him. If you want to know the person, observe his actions. So
Yes.
here your job as a designer is to understand what he need rather than what he want. So try to understand before he articulate or not able to articulate, understand what is in need, try to identify and help the organization in defining the problem itself. So that everything will start with empathize, and also give the assurance that design thinking or a design guys will help you fail fast. Don't give the blank assurance or the bundle of assurance that we will solve your problem. Give them that we will do everything for you. In case we have to fail, we will fail fast, fail cheap, so that we can assure that 200 things of 199 things may not work, but one thing will give you the bombarding results.
All right. Thanks, Ram. Before I hand over the session back to Vijay, I would just want to say that in this 1 hour time, with a varied kind of audience, we simply can just help each other to inspire, to give some feeler. You go back, and now avenues are unlimited. You connect with so much of digital sources. Understand that the pharmaceutical should understand that. I'm not saying that pharmaceutical people or doctors should get design training. No, that is not required. You should be aware about what are the possibilities, what are the benefit design can offer to you. While designers need not to be a medical doctor to be turned or to be a pharmaceutical professional, they should understand the nuances of healthcare and pharmaceutical. Then you can design better. I would like
Right.
to thank both the industry leaders, Dr. Senthil from healthcare and Sourabh from the pharmaceutical, to come to the designers forum here. And I would like to doubly thank Ram, who brings the design insights from his experiences and trying to help the pharmaceutical and healthcare professionals to learn that, to get inspired that. So thank you very much, all three of my panelists. With this, I hand over the session to Vijay.
Good. It was really an amazing session and so much of information. Even like no, I could see so much of beautiful points and the comments that even the people do ask you, and that all. I hope we covered everything. So here I would like to express my gratitude to all the esteemed delegates of the webinar for the presence and the contribution to make this session a great success. So I extended my gratitude to our beloved panelists and wonderful audience to take out time for this busy Sunday evening to grace the event. And the audience, you people can still ask your questions by posting comments in the platform that you are watching, and one of us will definitely will respond soon. So thank you all. Stay safe.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.